Day is over. It's been a good, like, 60 some odd degrees. I have worked up, I'm very worked. I've did a lot of fucking work today. I was really having at it with tightening. A lot of heave ho with a bar, taking these iron struts, the scaffolding support, and tightening it up. And so, it's kind of like I've done a lot of push-ups and a lot of rows. That's what it feels like. Rows and push-ups all day. Like standing push-ups, like that. And I'm on my way to the chiropractor. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit, about shiftability, right? We all take in a world around us, and we try to link our existential understanding of the world to our local understanding of the world. What is the President of the United States to me driving on the freeway? Right? Excuse me. And when the world fucking changes, you have to change. Right? People don't change, and then they end up being wrong. Right? Let me put it to you this way. I do not care what people say about the No Kings rally. As far as the critics of the No Kings rally is concerned. It's not even the point that there were a lot of people there, right? And although the No Kings situation is absurd because they don't realize that nothing about how our presidency works is king-like, and also with the exception of the fact that we have, still it's nothing that's king-like, right? Congress makes the laws, and all these various departments and agencies and things like that, they are kind of like, do you need it to uphold a law? If a law was passed about education, do you need the Department of Education to be the law enforcement agency of the world of schooling? You suppose I am pro something. Oh, you're cute. You are so cute that you shall be hidden from the channel. Anyway, we all know what those three letters anachronized means. And I'm not going to deal with your gaslighting. Anyway. So, there's a certain point where you just look at the circumstances and I'll put it to you this way, right? At the beginning of this administration, when the mass deportations that we expected were coming came, I've honestly figured after a serious amount of time that the other side of the debate was going to do something serious, because this is serious. Actual human beings are being displaced. We really need to talk about the law, because this is all within the extent of power of the law. All of this was passed by law. Biden could have done this. Obama could have done this. George Bush could have done this. You gotta ask yourself why George Bush didn't do this. Because you could go and look at deportation records, and there's a lot of deportations every single year before this year. But nothing like this year. And it's way more to it than just the last 4 years. It's way more to it. It's not like it's alien to us to be on all manner of job sites with all manner of persons who speak only Spanish or only Creole, so on and so forth. Granted, most people I know. What is my favorite NFL team? None. I'm not really a fan of commercial sports, with the exception of competitive combat, MMA, or pro wrestling, which it's not about the fight, it's about the performance. You know, it's basically full contact acrobatics between two people are having an acrobatics competition against each other. And that's pro wrestling. Once you get that through your fucking head, now you can just fucking enjoy wrestling. You can't do that with politics, because somebody actually gets bombs dropped on their head. Somebody actually gets their lives ruined by the orders given to an officer about the law. So, you want to have no kings. Great. Just understand that means that you can't be a ruler over anybody either. If you don't want to have any kings, it means you don't want to have a head of the family in charge. Why is it no kings? What about queens? You know, there was a lot of tyranny in England before King Charles came along, when Queen E, Queen of the Lizard People, was running the show for almost 100 fucking years. Okay. So nobody wants to talk about the matriarchy. So why not no monarchs? Well, why not no queens? Or do you have... If we're gonna say no kings, it also means no queens, meaning you cunts can't be in charge either. Because the queen, especially by feminist standards, is going to have all the authority and duties of a king, which queens typically do anyway, for better or for worse. it's you know, it's kind of a and any gender can do the job per se. Although it's a big question of perception to execution. Oh my god. There we go, come on. Anyway. So my point is that conservatism is kind of falling into the wrong now, because they should have looked at all this time and stopped and said to themselves, maybe if the left doesn't want to make things better, then we can make things better. But the right has decided to forego humanity and say, nah, fuck these people that literally they just want to be here, work, and be chill. Just like any fucking American would just want to be here, work, and be chill. But maybe there's plenty of fucking X, Y, and Z situations, you know, going on that are not necessarily criminal. Maybe there's a little bit of economic exploitation, but that's why we can talk about the law. Because if you don't like what it takes for these people to stay under the law as is, then change the fucking law. Nobody on the right wants to do that. They're just happy just booting them and saying there's nothing wrong with our immigration. But there is something wrong with our immigration. We're still, even as a republic, we're still about the people. We're still democratic. There's still a lot of people. Maybe they're a minority, but but who we are doesn't fucking ignore the minority in that sense. Even if it's like primarily a sect of cosmopolitan liberal women, or whatever. Not the point. Not the point. So I don't know what you think is to be done about immigration, other than to sit back. You want to sit back, you want to just relax and almost like cheer it on. It's a little sick. It's a little sick, especially when you hear how things are, with the camps and stuff. It's just like, as the time has shifted, and we've looked and we've seen what it is. And it is what it is because of sanctuary cities. But you don't want to talk about that either, right? So, like, I'm just a little bit sick of it just because the Republicans are also really not stepping up in ways that shows. So I'm a little bit concerned, needless to say. That should be where I turned. That's fine. Take the next one. Does this let me turn? I think so. Yeah. Okay, good. All right. Because I don't need to be fucking committed to one thing or the effing other. And actually, this was exactly where I needed to turn. Perfect. And it's better, that I'm not, because I'm just getting way ahead of what I see, right? Because if it wasn't for the compound of facts such as release the Epstein files, facts such as why aren't we understanding the full truth of the condition in Gaza and Palestine? Facts such as why is Bill Gates making medical decisions in the White House? You know, it's just like, sorry, I am not very happy with this guy anymore. By the merit that he has kind of turned conspiracy stuff into mockery, conspiracy stuff that has merit into mockery. You know, there's the Charlie Kirk thing. There's looking at the Christian Reich coming out of the Charlie Kirk thing, because that's what that memorial for Kirk was. That was the Christian Reich introducing itself. Those are the real fucking guys that have never had that. They've been pandered to, and the idea was to continue to deceive them because of the way that they are. To, you know, to the point that, you know, that what if, what if nothing bad happened this year in Gaza, and it was all wag the dog to satiate politics for the far right because they're evil, right? Like that would be a delusional person's way of reconciling the abject attitude of negligence towards human life of Palestinians. As you look at a devastation that, how do you rationalize that merely Hamas was the target when Israel has wiped out city blocks, just laid to waste like it was fucking Berlin 1944. I mean, 45, whenever the fuck Berlin was under siege. Yeah, that's the kind of bullshit that is kind of cognitively dissonant, you know? So anyway, I am going to get ready for my chiropractor session. Thanks for tuning in. And now's a great time to divorce yourself from any partisan vibe check that you were on, particularly on the right. Let it go. Be none of it. Be something apart from it. Measure yourself on a different polarity metric. That's the best way I can say that. I will catch you guys later.